Welcome. I'm going to illustrate comparative advantage by using the example we talked about in class of Brazil versus Mexico. Brazil can make either 500 tons of coffee or 500 tons of wheat. Mexico can make either 500 tons of coffee or 250 tons of wheat. So as you see down below, Brazil can make one coffee for one wheat or one wheat for one coffee. Notice they can either do one or the other, but not both. And Mexico can either do one coffee for 1/2 a wheat or one wheat for 2 coffees. Brazil has absolute advantage with wheat, and neither have an absolute advantage with coffee. But comparatively, one has comparative advantage in wheat, and one has comparative advantage in coffee. And let's figure out how that works. So it costs Brazil 1 coffee for 1 wheat. It costs Mexico 2 coffees for 1 wheat. So Brazil has the comparative advantage in wheat. It costs Mexico 1 wheat for 2 coffees, and it costs Brazil 1 wheat for 1 coffee. Another way of looking at it is, for coffee, it only costs Mexico 1/2 a wheat to make, but it costs Brazil a whole wheat to make. So it's cheaper for Mexico to make coffee. Again, only 1/2 a wheat is lost for Mexico, but a whole wheat is lost for Brazil. So Mexico should specialize in coffee. It's what they do best. It's cheapest for them. And Brazil, it's cheapest for them to make wheat. So we have our specialties. So Brazil will only make wheat and trade it, and Mexico will only make coffee and trade that. Right now the ratios, Brazil has a 1-to-1 ratio, and Mexico has a 1-to-1/2 ratio. And so we are going to find the terms of trade, something in between. Let's say 0.75 to 1 is in between 1 and 1.5 and 1-to-1. So if we do that ratio, what happens? Brazil doesn't have to trade all its wheat to get its 500 tons of coffee. It only needs to trade 375 tons, not all 500. So it trades 375 tons, and I put this in red. It gets its coffee from Mexico, 500 tons of coffee from Mexico. It still has 125 tons of wheat that didn't trade, that's remaining. So it's much better off. It has 500 tons of coffee and 125 tons of wheat. Before it would be 500 tons of coffee or 500 tons of wheat. So much better off for Brazil. Mexico also is better off. Mexico before could at most get 250 tons of wheat. So in the trade it got 375 tons of wheat. So Mexico is better off too. So they both are better off from the trade. Mexico gains 125 tons of wheat, and Brazil gains also 125 tons of wheat, and in addition to the coffee that it has. Okay, so thank you very much.